And this is the voice of every ethnic nationality in the lower Niger block. That's the South, South, and Southeast together, under NINAS, bringing you messages of hope, trust, and truth. Today's topic is combating fake people, fake groups in our quest for freedom and self-determination. Now, and it's also how to differentiate the fake from the real. Now, the main reason why there's confusion in our lower Niger block is because there are fake freedom groups out there. We should not be surprised by that, okay? This is life on earth. It's not life in heaven. So on earth, you've got good people and you've got bad people. And because of that, we should not be surprised. We should not be distressed by the fact that there will be fake groups. All we need to do is to, use our heads and make sure that we don't get deceived. So just as we know that there's, real gold, there's also fake gold. They're real diamonds and they're fake diamonds. We've got real money and there's fake money. We've got real pastors and priests with the real gospel, and we've got fake pastors and fake priests with a fake gospel. That's the reality of life here on earth. So in the same way, you've got the real self-determination organization and you've got the fake ones. Now, we can identify the fake ones if we use this, the head, the brain, and not the heart. So what we do is we do the research, and when we get information, we apply the information to our lives and our thinking. Now, what we want, all the ethnic nations want in the lower Niger block is self-determination. That means that they want to be able to organize their present and their future. So I'll give a few characteristics of the real self-determination group, the authentic one. The authentic groups, they will have a strategy, that means a plan and a clear pathway, and they will publish it somewhere, like on a website. In the 21st century, everybody uses a website. They will publish it so that the people know, because self-determination is something that the people are getting for themselves. But the organization will prepare the paperwork, the legal stuff, but it's something the people will be following. So they need to publish what is happening and their plan. Now, the fake group will have no plan and no strategy. What they will do is they will copy the real one. And we know all about that in Nigeria. Because, for instance, you'll have a consultant who will go to a ministry or an agency, and he'll meet some civil servants. He's got a brilliant idea, and he'll give his proposal to some top civil servant. They will take the proposal, remove the original person's name. They may even tweak the title of the proposal a bit, and they'll take it as if it's their own. This happens all the time in Nigeria. So copying is something that happens in Nigeria because, people get away with it in this country. So the fake freedom groups, that's exactly what they do. They'll go to the website of the real one, like in our case, the real one, the authentic one is Lower Niger Congress. Lower Niger Congress has published their strategy and their 16 steps for a long time. So the fake one will go there. Okay. They're talking about referendum. We're going to talk about referendum. They're talking about alliances. We're going to talk about alliances. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they do. All they do is copy, but they'll have no website, no strategy. And when you have a strategy, it's not just something you just pluck out of the air. a strategy is something logical based on something. So the real group will explain to you why they have their strategy because it's based on something, while the fake one will have no reason because all they're doing is copying. Oh, referendum. Okay, I'll copy referendum. They have no clue, why they're talking about referendum. Just copying. Okay, so that is important to know, that the fake group copies. Okay, they'll be copying the real one. As I said earlier, the authentic group, they have a strategy that follows clear logic so that anybody will understand. So it's going to be step one. After step one, there's step two, step three. While the fake group has no idea how anything is being achieved. Now, the authentic group, their focus is going to be on the strategy. Of course, they'll have one or two spokespeople, because somebody has to talk, but the focus is on the strategy. Now, the fake group has absolutely nothing to offer, so the focus will be on the leader. So that's something we watch out for. The focus is on the leader. What the leader is wearing, hats, coats, gloves, shoes, whatever, it's on the leader. And they'll be talking about my leader, my leader, my leader, because they've got no strategy. While in the real group, it's the strategy. So for instance, in Lower Niger Congress, you're going to be hearing about constitutional force majeure because it's the strategy. You're going to be hearing about Nina's movement because it's the people who will drive the movement, okay? So the focus is not on the people in Lower Niger Congress. Now, for the authentic group, the purpose is self-determination for ethnic nations. So in the Lower Niger block, we've got Ijon Nation, Ogoni Nation, Ogoja Nation, Urobo Nation, Edo Nation. So it's going to be self-determination for each nation in their ancestral land. So their purpose is self-determination. While the fake group, the purpose is to make money for the leader and the managers, okay? And also to make a name for the leader and the managers. That's what the fake group is about. So you can distinguish these things. They're very easy to see, okay? The authentic group will use international law and United Nations instruments as a guidance. While the fake group, they've got nothing, so they're just going to, the fake groups that we know about in the Lower Niger block, you'll see them on the internet. They use hate and threats. So if you ask them a question, they'll call you some rude name, and a lot of them will come and attack you on the internet because that's their violence and their hate. So you can tell a fake group, because what we're after is self-determination. We're not after opinions. We're not after hating people or loving people or anything like that. Our focus is self-determination. But the fake group will make the focus about themselves, and threatening and violence. So you can understand what I'm saying. And the fake group can also start using religion. Because in Africa, religion is a biggie. People like to talk about some spirit, whether it's a God spirit or some other spirit, but they like to talk about religion. In other countries, it's more scientific, but in Africa, religion. So the fake groups, the leader may start having some kind of religion, either a real religion like Christianity or something, or they'll, fake it up a little and begin to have visions and stuff like that. So these are some signs of a fake group, because remember that we're not there to be following any religion. We're there for self-determination. But the leader of the fake group is going to try and manipulate, because they don't have anything to offer. So they're going to manipulate people. And as I said, for Africans and Nigerians, religion is something that fake leaders and fake groups harp on a lot. Let's pray, let's fast and stuff like that. Got nothing to do with fasting and praying, self-determination. It's to do with you follow some legal processes laid down by United Nations, full stop, simple. Yeah. Now, for an authentic group, their work is evidenced. And that means that they will have real documentation, real videos, things like that, and it will be corroborated. Corroborated means that when you do something, let's say I do something in a public place, and you want to find out if I really did it, then you go, then you say, oh, wasn't Didi here? What was she wearing? Then some people say, oh, yeah, she was here. This is what she did. This is what she didn't do. Okay, so they're corroborating the evidence. So they're like informants / witnesses. So when you have an authentic group, the things that they do, other people say, oh yeah, I was there. They had a conference in America. Oh yeah, they did this, okay? And it will be different people who don't know each other will be saying it. So even members of the public. So LNC, when they went to America, other people who are not members of LNC would say, oh yeah, we saw Tony Nade, let's say on TV, things like that. While the fake group, it's only the members who will be talking because it's a fake group and they really haven't done anything. Okay, so so these are some signs. Another thing that the fake group would use is something called supremacism. Supremacism is kind of like pride, but then it goes overboard and it becomes something wrong. So, you know, in the world, you're born into some ethnicity. You're either Japanese or you're Chinese or you're Igbo or you're something. And you don't create yourself. So you're something. Now, most people are kind of happy with what they are. You know, somebody who's Japanese will be happy that they're Japanese. Somebody who's English will be happy that they're English. Somebody who's Ijaw will be happy. But supremacism, you now go overboard. They'll say something like, oh, Japanese is best, and all this kind of carrying on. That doesn't really make any sense because, you know, there's nothing like a best ethnic nation. Everybody is trying to find a pleasant way to live. So, you know, so supremacism is when you go overboard, and you can see it in Hitler. At the time of the Nazis during the Second World War, he went and said that some people with blonde hair and blue eyes that they called Aryans, that they were the best of the best. You know, so they were the best in Europe and the best in the world. So it was a supremacism. And you'll find the same kind of carrying on in the fake group, because what they're trying to do, the leader of the fake group, they're trying to hit your emotion, because it's either you use your brain or you use your emotions. The real group, you're using your brain. So everything is logical and normal. But the fake group, they're going to hit your heart. Yeah, this one's the best. Igbo's best. Ija's best. Ogoni's best. The Goja's best. You know, it's emotions. Everyone, yeah, we're the best. You know, it's kind of like a bit childlike in a sense, but then it's dangerous because these are now adults who should know better. But what it is that the leader is manipulating their emotions because he's got nothing to offer. Now, self-determination is a very serious business, and it involves systems and processes. So for instance, Lower Niger Congress is an organization, and it's made up of different organizations within them. They've sort of come together under one umbrella. So that's kind of systems. And they use processes. They follow international law, United Nations guidelines. So like the constitutional force majeure is one of the processes that the Lower Niger Congress is using. So it's based on something concrete, logical, that you can check out for yourself. It's not based on hype, arousing emotions, and it's not emotional. So it's very important that we understand that self-determination is logical. Okay, it's something that makes sense and that you can follow through. And anybody who's, let's say, I'd say from about the age of 13, yeah, should be able to follow it. You know, it could even be somebody who's 11, but let's just say 13 should be able to follow it. It's not complicated, it's all logical. And it's a strategy that would be intelligent because it's involving international law, and it is non-violent. We're now in the 21st century. United Nations is here now. United States Nations started after World War II. They started off as League of Nations. It was only Europeans because they said they've had a terrible Second World War. They want peace now in Europe. So they started League of Nations to see how they don't need to go to war again, and we can use international law, which they were now creating as time goes on, to keep the peace. Then as other nations outside Europe began to join, it then changed its name to United Nations. So United Nations is really about using international law and international treaties and agreements, so you don't need to go to war. The fake group, they don't know any of this, and they're working on emotions. Yeah, let's go to war, let's go to war. And you'll be sure that in the fake group, the leader is not going to be doing any of the dying. So he's going to be sending the others into the war. So when he's talking about war, he's certainly not talking about war for himself, but he's talking about war for others. He wants to stay safe, and he wants to enjoy the money that he's making off the vulnerable people. Now, Lower Niger Congress is using international law, and they have lawyers among them. The president is an Ishikiri gentleman. His name is Fred Aweyewe. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, and he's a lawyer. Then the Secretary General is another lawyer, Tony Nadi, and he's an expert in jurisprudence. And Tony Nadi is the one that we'll be seeing a lot of, because he's kind of like, he acts like a kind of spokesman. And because he is an expert in jurisprudence, which is a very difficult branch of law. It's like the science of law. So he's the one that radio channels and TV outlets, they want to speak to. It's Tony Nadi. And when you hear him and you see his writing, his English is impeccable. And it is of a very high standard. And it's because it's excellence. Because let's not forget this. You know, we know the reputation that Africa has, yeah? And we want people to represent us at the United Nations who can keep their own. They command respect, so that when the United Nations diplomats are talking, the person understands. You don't want somebody, they don't understand. They're looking like, big grammar, big grammar. I don't understand, big grammar. Tony Nutt is not like that. He knows, you know, he's very articulate. There's no English that anybody can use at the UN that he won't understand. So that way, he, you know, he communicates well, and he's somebody that we are proud of, that we have somebody with such a good command of English and obvious intelligence, so that when they go to United Nations and other international bodies, they're not looking silly. And they actually understand everything that is going on. They're not going to be fooled by anybody, and they can make a positive, intelligent contribution. So we need somebody like that. So that's the role that Tony Nadi plays. And Lower Niger Congress has all these experts who know what they're doing and who are not fazed by big grammar, and they get on with the serious task of getting self-determination for every ethnic nation in our bloc. Now, because they were experts, they know the problem of self-determination in Nigeria. And it's the 1999 Constitution. So when that was given to Obasanjo in 1999, within a couple of weeks, they realized, it took a couple of weeks because they hadn't been published at the time. So they now had to wait until they got published. So once they got published and they got a copy, they said, but this is going to cause problems for every ethnic nationality, not just in our bloc, but also throughout all of Nigeria. So that's when they said, that in order for us to get self-determination, we need to target that constitution, because it's the constitution that seizes our self-determination and hides our sovereignty. So any self-determination organization that is not talking about the 1999 Constitution is a fake one, okay? So let me say that again. Any freedom-fighting self-determination organization that in Nigeria is not talking about the 1999 constitution is a fake one, because it is that constitution where the problem lies. So it's, for instance, let's say I have toothache. Let's say I have toothache and I go to somebody who says he's a dentist. And when I get to him, he's looking at my feet. What I'll do is I'll know that that person hasn't got a clue what he's doing, because my problem is in my mouth, it's in my teeth. I can feel the pain. It's got nothing to do with my feet. So I know that this person is not a dentist, they're fake. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to leave, yeah? The same way, any freedom fighting group that is not targeting that 1999 constitution that hijacks our self-determination and sovereignty is fake. Because what are they targeting them? What are they targeting? Because self-determination is something you shout out. And it's because they are fake, they have no strategy. That's why they're not targeting the 1999 constitution, because they haven't got a clue what they are doing. But Lower Niger Congress does know. So that is a biggie in Nigeria. Okay. So since it's the 1999 constitution that seizes your self-determination, you need to get rid of it. You need to take it down. That means put it in the dustbin, get rid of it. And the word that's used is decommission. We now have to decommission that 1999 constitution. It's nothing, you know, others have done it. South Africa did it. They decommissioned their apartheid constitution using United Nations legal processes, so we can do it as well. Now, you and I may not know the process, but the experts at Lower Niger Congress know what to do and how to do it. So it's kind of like if, let's say, you have to have surgery, or somebody you know needs to have surgery. You're not, let's say you're not medically trained, you're not a surgeon, you don't know anything about it, but the surgeon knows about it because the surgeon is the expert. So we also in Nigeria need to realize, hey, I don't know it all. Yeah, it's not I too know, because I too know is silly. There's no such thing. You may be an expert in, let's say, history, but you don't know anything about science. Or you may be expert in science and you don't know much about history. So everybody knows their expertise. And the lawyers and political scientists in Lower Niger Congress, they know what they're doing. They started in 1999, and they put the steps of the work in 16 stages, 16 steps, 16 boxes. They successfully did 13 of them, 13 out of 16, okay? So they know what they're doing. They've had success. They're authentic. We're now in combined stage 14 and 15 has been combined because of COVID of last year. Okay, so we're now combined stage 14 and 15 out of 16. So we are nearing the end. And they have been successful so far, so they will be successful to the end. Now, when you have an authentic organization, you can, you know, as I said, they will tell you what they've been doing. So Lower Niger Congress has website and Facebook site. On their website, is it the notice board? They have a notice board, and there you've got lots of documents. I actually downloaded them so that way I can read them without having to use the internet. And they're PDF, you read them. If you don't understand some of the words, you use a dictionary, okay? So you read them and you get the knowledge, because it's important that, you know, as adults, we get ourselves informed. That way we don't get deceived. And when you read these documents, you'll find they make sense. They're logical. As I said, anybody 13 and above will understand it. You concentrate and you read it, and it's easy to understand. So I'll just talk about two things quickly that LNC have done, which are key. They knew that the Constitution was also affecting the people of the Middle Belt, the ethnic nations of Middle Belt and of Yoruba land. So they knew they needed alliances. So they went around and they got some alliances. So when they're working with the self-determination organization of Middle Belt and Yoruba land, it was known as Movement for New Nigeria. So, but Movement for New Nigeria was no longer needed when we declared the constitutional force majeure in December 16th last year. So they're kind of like vehicles. If you're going somewhere, sometimes you take a vehicle to one place, then you drop off. Then you take another vehicle to another place, then you drop off, then you take another vehicle. So it's like different vehicles until you get your destination. So Movement for New Nigeria is that alliance of organizations of Lower Niger Congress, the Middle Belt Forum, and Ilana Omoodua. And in June 30th, so that's 10 years, 10 years exactly today. Today's June 30th. So 10 years ago today, they had the Lagos Declaration. And this was a very important declaration because that's when the ethnic nations of those three blocs said that they're not going to live under the constitution because they didn't make it. It's a forgery and it seizes our sovereignties. And they took it to court. Some of them, they took the constitution to court. And they said, they made it clear and they announced publicly that it is a forgery for everybody to know. And in the Constitution, the introduction is called a preamble. And the preamble said that we the people, that means the Ijaw, Igbo, and Nang, everybody, that we came together and we agreed to be together in this union that we see, this unitary Nigeria, and that we made the Constitution, which is a lie. So they said that that preamble had to be set aside and that the government had to start a process for us to decommission that constitution and get real proper ones the right way. So this Lagos declaration it's a key one, and you can get it down from their website and read it and explain it to your children and to other people. So that was something that was key. Another thing that was key that LNC did, because this is an authentic self-determination organization, is that they had solemn assemblies. A solemn assembly is exactly what it is. It's a group of people who represent the different ethnic nations and they come up with resolutions. If we look at the United Nations is a form of solemn assembly. You've got representatives from all the different countries. They come together and they discuss climate change or, terrorism or something. And the resolutions they make, the representatives will go back home and begin to implement it in those countries. So the UN is a kind of a solemn assembly. So is the EU. That's another kind of solemn assembly. They have people who represent them and they make resolutions. So in the same way, the Lower Niger Congress, there was a solemn assembly for the Lower Niger Bloc, and that was in 2015, April 27th in Port Harcourt. The Yorubas also had theirs later on, and then the Middle Belt. But because we're talking about our block, the Lower Niger block, I'll concentrate on that one. And what they did in 2015 in April is they again repudiated and rejected that fraudulent 1999 constitution as the basis for their union. They said they didn't make it. They're not going to accept, some document that somebody else threw upon them. There's an 1885 map that is more or less South, and Southeast together. If you go on the Lower Niger Congress website and Facebook page, you'll see it. At that solemn assembly, all the ethnic nations there agree that they will adopt it as a way of going forward into the future. And what they did is that they mandated, which means they said, look, we want you to begin the process of something called a charter of relationship. It's again a legal document. Ijaw, Anang, Ogoni, Ogoja, all the ethnic nations of the Lower Niger block will decide, we want to go ahead in the future together and how it is to be done. So that was one of the things they mandated to get done, and it's ongoing. And there's something called assets protection and guarantee scheme, which they said that people should also, start looking into. And that is to do with let's say somebody who is Ogoni has some business or property in Jos, which is in Middle Belt, to make sure that, you know, if the people should decide that Nigeria dissolves, that their property and business in Middle Belt still stay intact. Okay, so these are two key things that were mandated to be done during that solemn assembly in 2015. So I've just given two examples because I want us to know that the authentic self-determination organization is doing serious work. You can imagine how much money and resources it would take to put, you know, to do these solemn assemblies and the Lagos Declaration. Okay, so this is what the real authentic self-determination organization has been doing. Now, we need to also have an idea of the destination that LNC has. And what it is we're talking about self-determination. So it's for every ethnic nation to have full self-determination that has been hijacked by that 1999 constitution that none of us ever made. And then once each ethnic nation has their full self-determination, they will decide what they want. So when the Ijaw have their full self-determination, they will decide, Ijaw will decide what they want for their future. Do they want to be in a union, well, let's say with Igbo and with Ogoni and Ogoja? If so, how? So it's when we get that, they will decide. So the destination is the full self-determination for every ethnic nation. Every ethnic nation comes in its official name. So no funny names, you know, this is serious. Remember, the United Nations is also guiding it and all, and they want to see some seriousness and maturity from all of us. So Ndibo are Igbos, Ijaw are Ijaw, Anang are Anang, Efik are Efik. So you come in your official name. Each ethnic nation keeps its unique identity. So Ijaw will come as Ijaw with their unique identity. Edo will come as Edo with their unique identity. Nobody is going to dominate anybody, and nobody is going to steal resources from anybody. It's not going to be like this Nigeria where we have all suffered, because all we know is this Nigeria, yeah, but it will be so different. And there will be no such thing as minority. I think, you know, I have to do research on this one, but it was Amadou Bello who, in that horrible speech of his on the 12th of October 1960, he began to talk about minorities and the Middle Belt. In what the Lower Niger Congress proposes is there'll be no minorities. So if I use the United Kingdom as an example, the indigenous people of the United Kingdom are the Welsh, the English, the Scottish, and the Northern Irish. You will never hear of any of them being referred to as minority. You'll never hear the Welsh being called minorities. Those who would be called minorities would be people like myself, you know, like if you're Black British, then they'll call you minority. Chinese British, you can be minority. Indian British, you're not indigenous. So in the, you know, the future that the Lower Niger Congress is proposing, there'll be no minority amongst the indigenous ethnic nations. So it's not going to be about population. It's going to be, you are a nation and you have your unique identity, and, you know, we're all equal. So it's going to be very, very different from Nigeria. At the moment, we don't know the name for it because we're not there yet. But at the appropriate time, you know, the people, once they've agreed to be together, they will choose the name. Right now, we refer to it as Lower Niger Territory, okay? It's a temporary appellation. We just need to refer to it by something, okay? So that's the destination. So, and we don't know, the people at the appropriate time, the people decide, is it going to be a federation or confederation? All that we don't know as yet. Right now, you know, it's first things first. So, but if you look at the fake freedom groups, they really have no destination. Everything is cloudy because they're fake. They don't even know what they're doing. They're there to make money for the leader and a name for the leader. And as I said, they work on emotions. And for the Lower Niger Block, because the Lower Niger Block is the most maltreated area of Nigeria. That's where Nigeria's money has been coming from, the oil and gas. They're now targeting the gas of the Igbo areas. And some of the Igbo area already had some oil, but it was mostly the other parts. And, so we've all suffered. We've all suffered and we're still suffering. So our block is the one where we may have more fake freedom groups because everybody is in pain. So those who just want money, they will key into that pain. So it's kind of like if there's a couple and they want a child and they're childless, they're very vulnerable to fake pastor who will begin to say he's seen visions that they've got twins and triplets and quadruplets. You see what I'm saying? Because they're vulnerable, because they really want the baby and they haven't got one. The same is happening in our block. The people have wanted their freedom since 1966, when we had the first coups and Nigeria, the original Nigeria disappeared. So the people have been suffering. So it's easy for any fake freedom individual or group to come and deceive them. And the word that is used a lot to deceive our people, because it's emotions, remember emotions, is the word Biafra. So ting, ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. That's the sound of coins. Nigeria doesn't have coins, but Biafra is bringing them money. So that is a word we have to be careful with if we don't want to be deceived. We have to be careful of that word Biafra. So, and the thing with the word Biafra is the United Nations makes the laws. I don't make the laws, you don't make the laws. We have to go with the guidelines of United Nations. United Nations is not going to accept the word Biafra because it's contentious. The word Biafra would involve about 7 different countries in Africa. You can look this up yourself. 7 different countries and over 100 different ethnic nations. It is so contentious, they're not going to go with it. So if you are following a freedom group that's using the word Biafra, the onus is on you. It's not on me. Yeah, I'm following LNC. The onus is on you, who's following a group that's saying that they're going for Biafra. You need to go to the leaders and ask them what is it that they're doing. How did they approach the UN, and let them show you the evidence, because you are the one they're deceiving. So it's for you to, apply this and go to them and ask them how is it that they're working this Biafra thing out for you, because you will find that they're doing absolutely nothing. They are working on your emotions because they know what Biafra means to the people in our block, especially to the Igbo part of the people in our block. So as I said, Biafra is a no-no for self-determination through the United Nations. And it's the United Nations, the only organization that helps people together. So do ask those that you are following, how are they managing? There was a Daughters of Truth show last Saturday, and they used a beautiful analogy of what Biafra means. And I am going to use that for us so that we will use this and not our heart. The time was in 1967 when our people used the word Biafra. It was a child of necessity. It's like, somebody's trying to kill you and you see a vehicle going past, and the vehicle is the Biafra vehicle. It's the name of the vehicle, it's the vehicle, yeah? And you say, please, please, pick me. They're trying to kill me. Stop, pick me. And then you enter the vehicle, and the vehicle took you to safety. So if, let's say your name is Eze, because you've been in a vehicle called Biafra, does your name now change to Biafra? Yeah? that a vehicle carried you to safety, does that change your identity? If you're Igbo, you're still Igbo. If you're Anang, you're still Anang. If you're Ijo, you're still Ijo. So this is exactly what it was. Biafra was a vehicle that we used in 1967. Today is not 1967. Today is 2021. Things have changed. The United Nations have got new policies and procedures that are actually quite helpful for self-determination since that time. So today, the vehicle for us is Lower Niger Congress / NINAS movement. All right? So everything I said, you can research it. And, you read about it for yourself. So what is happening is that word Biafra is for money-making purposes. Go and ask questions. Like a fake pastor. People don't ask the fake pastor questions. Oh, touch not the man of God, anointed man of God. Yeah. Nobody has asked, which God are you talking about? Who anointed you? Those are just simple questions. If we were to ask those simple questions, the fake pastors would not be so plentiful in Nigeria. But we don't ask questions. And the same for Biafra, because we use emotion. We let emotions guide us. And when we do that, we get deceived. And that is why even Jesus said, be ye not deceived. He didn't say, oh, you're poor. You're poor and you're uneducated. You can be deceived. He said, blanket, be ye not deceived. So that's a commandment. Be ye not deceived. So all of you who want to follow Biafra, you need to go to whoever the leader is of whatever that group and ask them, what are they doing? And get the evidence, proper evidence, and corroborate. So when they show you a document, don't just accept it. You now need to make sure that it's not a fake document, because remember we're talking about Nigeria, where people, as I was saying earlier on, the civil servants, they'll take somebody's proposal and put their own name. So that's the kind of country, sorry, let me just check, do this. That's the kind of country that we are talking about, all right? So check things out, ask questions, so you're not deceived. Lower Niger Congress is the authentic vehicle and the authentic self-determination pathway. Now, this Biafra, word Biafra, is such a money-making word that you've got people from other blocks who will be talking Biafra, we're all Biafran and everything, because they need subscribers for their radio show. They're not doing anything about self-determination. They're talking on the radio. Okay, and they need followers. So they will start talking about, oh yeah, Biafra all the time, so that they'll get likes and subscribers and they're making money. These are people on the radio. Yeah, that is not the way you're going to get self-determination. You're going to get self-determination through legal processes, as I said, yeah. And it's not a one-day thing. It's a whole series of processes. You finish one, then you do the next. So if you go on the Lower Niger Congress website, as I said, you'll see 16 stages. They've finished 13 successfully. We're on 14 and 15 combined out of 16. So I'm nearing the end of what I wanted to say for today, but I just want us to, to just give some take-home points. And I wanted to be clear, very clear. In the 21st century, you do not go to war for self-determination. Abraham Lincoln, that was 1860, wasn't it? So that was 150 odd years ago. They had a civil war in America. That would not have happened today. Yeah, he would not have been allowed. Today, if Scotland wants to split off from England and Wales and Northern Ireland, they do it. They're going to have a referendum. Then they're going to use United Nations legal processes. The Soviet Union, some of you may not have been born, but I was born. Soviet Union has split into, I don't know, 16 different countries or so. They did it through different legal processes, okay? You don't go to war. So the fake freedom groups will start talking to you about war. There's no war. And another thing that the fake freedom groups will do is every part of Nigeria, let's say Middle Belt, Yoruba land, and our block, we are suffering from Fulani herdsman issues. My own farm was completely destroyed by Fulani herdsmen. They didn't kill anyone, but they've destroyed my farm, money lost, investments lost. This is in Nwani, and Yoma part of Delta State and Lower Niger Block. So we know we are suffering from Fulani herdsman issues. Now, Fulani herdsman issues is completely separate from self-determination. So the fake freedom groups are trying to mess up with your mind by touching on the emotions. Yeah, I'm frightened of the Fulani. Yes, we're all frightened about them. But the Fulani issue is the Fulani issue. The Fulani herdsman issues is Fulani herdsman issue. It's completely separate from self-determination. But the fake freedom fighters are going to try and mess things up and tell you that they're the same. They're not. Self-determination is a legal process, and you follow the legal process. If you've got Fulani herdsmen trespassing on farms and killing people, that's another matter that you deal with in a different way. I used an example last time and I'll use it again. It's as if I'm making okra soup. Non-violent process. I'm making okra soup. I'm in the kitchen. That's one thing. That's what I want to do, and I'm doing that. Now, an intruder comes in, a trespasser, burglar, intruder comes into my place, into my house. I now stop cooking the soup to go deal with the intruder. I attack him, kill him, yeah, because I'm strong. So I kill the intruder. Now, I've killed somebody whilst sort of like, I'm cooking the soup, but they're not the same thing. They're two separate issues. I'm cooking the soup, an intruder comes. The same for self-determination. Self-determination is one thing, it's a legal process. Fulani killer, Fulani herdsman trespassing in our land is something different. So don't allow these fake freedom fighters because they've got nothing to offer, nothing. So they're using whatever problems may be in the land to try and make you feel that they're doing something. Okay? Now, Lower Niger Congress, they have a component for self-defense in their protocol, okay? They have a component of self-defense. That's what I can say about that, because these are experts we're talking about. So what I would say is the Lower Niger Congress, they have shown since 1999 that they care about the ethnic nations of our bloc. They've not bothered anybody for money or anything, have they? Have they? They've done all this work, 13 stages without bothering anybody. So this is the authentic group. If you see the signatories of the constitutional force majeure, I'm one of the signatories. I'm a retired Metropolitan Police Officer, London police officer, with all the expertise that I have, and I check them out. I'm a signatory. If you look at the list of signatories, these are people who are lawyers, John Nyanwodo. I don't know the names of some of the others because I'm still relatively new, still in Nigeria, sort of thing. But these are people of a certain maturity and a certain professionalism. We are all signatories of the constitutional force majeure. It's been published in The Guardian Nigeria. You can see the list of signatories. Then the Yorubas also, and the Middle Belt. So this is the authentic group. And Lower Niger Congress is our guiding light. They are the ones guiding us safely into self-determination. We're nearing the end. And as my sisters and daughters of truth, who are also signatories of the constitutional force majeure, and they're professionals as well, they say, follow who know road. Don't enter the evil forest, or if you're already in the evil forest, run out and follow Huno Road. It's Lower Niger Congress, the guiding light. So before the questions, I know that I'm running out of time, is that there are fake freedom groups out there. Do not be surprised. This is life on earth. There's a lot of fake stuff, fake pastors, fake diamond, fake money, fake everything on this earth. We are to check things out. Even the Lord Jesus Christ said, be ye not deceived that there's going to be fake, because he knows there's going to be fake on this earth. So it's nothing to be alarmed. Use this. Don't allow them to manipulate your emotions. The word Biafra is a no-no for the United Nations. So don't bother with something that's not going to get you anywhere, right? It doesn't make sense, does it? So, so let's use the word that's acceptable. It's the word self-determination. We've had Lower Niger Congress that have done quite a lot of work. You can check it out on their website. They had the Lagos Declaration in 2011, exactly 10 years ago today, the 30th of June. Then in our blog, we had the Solemn Assembly in 2015. What else? Well, so I think I can stop there. And are there any questions? Let me see. I can't. It doesn't look like there are any questions. Okay, that's good. Now, before I sign off, the next Volley Live show is on Friday. That would be the 2nd of July at 8 p.m. this time. Okay, so Friday it's at 8 p.m. and it'll be interesting. So do come in and listen in. So anyway, so that's what we've done today. It's just really that for many things in life, we need to be aware that there may be fake around, and we need to ask questions. It is our responsibility. It's not God's. Yeah, it's not your parents. It's your own responsibility not to be deceived. Be ye not deceived. And the fake freedom groups have no strategy. They are copying. If you look at it, it's the leader. They're always talking about leader, 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 leader. The authentic ones will be talking about strategy, and they will have evidence corroborated by other independent people. And the caliber of people that will be following the authentic group will be different. It'll be people who would be like professionals, because they're going to use this. So that is important. Let's use this less than the heart, okay? Let's use our brains more than our heart. All right, so that is me done. I can still see no questions. So bye-bye until the next time. And I think we'll now play the Volley jingle. Take care. Bye-bye, and be good.
This is Volley Media. Voice of Liberty International, Volley. The voice of all ethnic nationalities in the Lower Niger region under Ninas. The Anang, Beni, Efik, Isha, Ibibio, Igbo, Ikwere, Isoko, Ijo, Kalabari, Obolo, Ogoni, Okrika, Oron, Urobo, and others. This is Voice of Liberty International, Volley, bringing to you messages of hope, trust, and truth. We shall show live broadcasts on the following days: Sunday by 7 p.m., Wednesday by 7 p.m., and Friday by 8 p.m., all at the homeland time. Tune in at these times for live streaming programs. This is Voli Media.